Welcome to the show recapping AFCON. Day 10, guys. I'm Africans here talking about the results. We are into decision days. Guys, we missed you over the weekend. Life happens. We're back here. We're here to talk about the games that were, the games that are, and we now are starting to get a clearer picture as to what the round of 16 are going to look for. So, guys, let me know what results surprised you about today. I'm laughing because there's a particular result that I left the game thinking it was in hand, and then when I arrived, I realized we were not in hand. We'll talk about those results coming in again. So, guys, leave your comments down below. Which results are you excited for? The match was starting to figure themselves out. So we reached decision day, which basically means we're down to 2-a-days at the same time. No backs fixing or anything like that. So because that is happening here, guys, now we get to see some of the matchups in the games and how they're flowing through. To give you guys a bit of a rundown here, we had Group A and Group B playing. So let's jump into that, guys. If you watch this on a rewatch or jump in a little bit later, let me know what surprised you about today, what didn't surprise you about today. I will tell you what doesn't surprise me about today, and we'll get there as we go along. So let's jump into the results that came in today. So today we had Group A double headers, Equatorial Guinea playing the host, Ivory Coast, and then Nigeria playing Guinea-Bissau. Guinea-Bissau, I think, with the first shock of the day, really showing, and again, something we said earlier in these recaps, the middle class of AFCON, the middle class of CAF, they are here to stay. And they are showing that they are up to level, and especially with teams that are, I'd say, that upper echelon of African teams that are underperforming, or maybe their form is what it is. Right? Someone I was asking me the other day, why is this team struggling? I thought to myself, I said, well, ultimately, what we just acknowledge and accept that the team's form is what their form is. They can't live off of the highlights or the other days. They can't live in the past. How they play is an indictment of who they are right now. And so if a team is struggling, yes, they may have talent on the pitch, but the team is struggling. So it's a struggling team, right? Whether it's, Nigeria just getting 1-0 victories over teams when they have a bunch of chances they can't finish, or whether it's Ghana deciding to squander 2-goal leads all the time. The teams are what they are, and we have to accept them for what they are. But Equatorial Guinea, truly, I think, is one of the bigger surprises starting off this 4-0 over Ivory Coast, which now leaves them in a very particular situation. They're at the top of their group. Wow. And say, just honestly, 4 goals coming in, mainly near the end of the match with Ivory Coast. They had good opportunities as the game was progressing and moving forward from there. But ultimately, this was really just a game where Cote D'ivoire couldn't bury their chances, and at the end, Equatorial Guinea did, and that left them in the group situation where they were. And you have Equatorial Guinea now in first place, top in the group, which I don't think many of us saw. I think my prediction for this group was Cote d'Ivoire because they get the hosting boost. They did not get that. Then Nigeria, then Equatorial Guinea, then Guinea-Bissau. I think I actually may have put Guinea-Bissau on top of Equatorial Guinea, so I think I got this group completely wrong, which ultimately is all right. Which is ultimately all right. But now that we look at where they are, that really does open it up. And then you saw Guinea-Bissau versus Nigeria. I really thought this would be the game where Nigeria would get off of the boat and really start to score, but only able to get an own goal in the 36th minute. Nigeria is creating lots of opportunities, but just not scoring. And if you consistently do this, one of two things are going to happen. You're either going to find that game in the next round where all the chances all of a sudden hit, or they're going to continue to tease us with so many close chances, but have nothing to really show for it. So we have Group A winners and Group A advancing, and then the hosts are sitting now, but now can sit a little bit better knowing that they are in a better position based off of the games they're going through. So to scroll and show you kind of how it breaks down, we know that Nigeria will be playing the runner-up from Group C, and the Equatorial Guinea, the top team, will be playing the third-place team of either Group C or Group D. So because of that, because we had Group B slot themselves in, Group D, third place is either going to be Algeria or possibly Mauritania. And then you have For Group C, you're either going to have Guinea or possibly Cameroon moving forward. So those are things to keep an eye on for teams that are coming through. Then we have the second games. Oh, the second games. Cape Verde, again, Group B, the Group B winners. Today, unfortunately, though Drew had a good game, but then at the depth, you had 2 goals coming through and a draw coming in. So a 2-2 and a 2-2 draw. Cape Verde were up 1-0. Then Egypt tied 2-0. And then 1-1. Then went up 2-1. And then Teixeira in the 99th minute of additional time puts it away. It's a draw. Cape Verde, again, another one of those middle class African teams, as we call them. Not the top tier, but certainly rising now, showing that they have metal and a lot of underperforming teams here. I had Cape Verde finishing second in this group, with Egypt topping it, and then Ghana in third, with my predictions. And everything kind of went to chalk except for Egypt not topping the group. Egypt going through on 3 draws ultimately, and dramatic games in Group B. When it gets to Group, the other matchup, Mozambique versus Ghana, I left that game assuming that the game was good. They were up 2-0, but then a penalty and additional time puts them in a very tough spot. And the thing with Ghana was Ghana needed to not lose this game because even if they finished in second, they would have given themselves an opportunity to move on further and as well avoid the third place draw. A draw means they're already only on 2 points now, meaning now because of that, you can't get ahead of teams from a third place standpoint. Even if Egypt had won that game, for example, from a third place standing, they now leave themselves there. Unfortunately, Andre Ayew with a penalty hand in an awkward and not a natural position. A penalty gets called on him. And then you get to the 94th minute and just pure shock and a bad goalkeeping move by Ofori, who touches the ball before it goes out, and then on the corner, just on the corner, a decent header that goes into the top corner, and now Ghana has to hope for help when Ronaldo puts it away. And if you're Ghana, you have walked 2 wins into draws in this tournament. They have walked 2 wins into draws. You could argue they've walked 3 results outside of themselves, and that's really and I don't know what that's it's just hubris to me. It's just like, if you're Ghana, what do you say at this point, right? You had a 2-0 win in the bag, then you give up a penalty, then your goalkeeper has a mental gaffe, touches the ball before it goes out, and then can't come up with a save on the set piece. And now what this does is you have Egypt in second, Cape Verde in first. To talk about what that means, scrolling back down, guys, that means we have Cape Verde playing either third group of A or D. So that means they'll either play the third place team. So that'll be Ivory Coast. That'll be where Cape Verde will be playing, or Group D, which we believe is right here, Algeria, or it could be Mauritania. That would be the third place. Those are the only 2 teams which are available for third place. Well, actually, not necessarily. One of either Angola or Burkina Faso can fall there. But just I don't want to put on the Ghana hat and rant about Ghana right now, but it is just remarkable that Ghana in this tournament have walked 3 results into the worst version of them. 2 bad turnovers, gets a draw versus Egypt, and then just mental gaffes against Mozambique when they had a 2-0 game in the bag in additional time. And then they found themselves this here. And it's unfortunate. So now what Ghana in third place, and I had mentioned this earlier, because they're in third place, Ghana has played 3 games and are sitting on 2 points. They need someone to drop a game, and that's their only real chance. They either need someone to drop a game, and probably you're looking at either a team not to pass them and dropping them game. You need those, but Is their best bet maybe Zambia, maybe losing to Morocco? That may be their best bet because even so, and then Tanzania losing to DR Congo. That has to be the result that they're looking for because every other result at this point is a little bit tough to see coming through. Right, Group C, Cameroon is a point, and Cameroon can go above them in terms of games, and that's what we'll get to. Let's talk about what's coming up now tomorrow. We have Group C and Group D playing. Cameroon playing the Gambia. That should be your result on paper for the Cameroon over the Gambia, which means now Cameroon will then jump over Ghana in points. Even with a draw, even with a draw, they would tie them. So they would then need to go over. So Cameroon with a win, which we're expecting, but we've seen stranger things happen at this competition. Cameroon winning puts them ahead of Ghana, and then now in that third place spot, then hopefully from there, 4 points pretty much guarantees them a spot moving forward. And that's the first part. And then when we get to Group D, we'll finish with Group C. Guinea and then Senegal playing for seeding. Senegal are in the top group, and because they're Group C, let's just roll back to the screen here. Apologies for all the scrolling. The winner of Group C is playing third place of A, B, or F, which means Cote d'Ivoire, maybe Ghana, or Group F, which would be Zambia, or maybe Tanzania. So not Morocco. Senegal is sitting in a good spot for where they are, but that first place doesn't matter. Guinea, the second place for Group C, which is the Group C runner-ups, they're looking at a matchup which would be Nigeria. So, do you want to take your chances with a Nigeria team who have created a lot of chances, but just haven't been able to convert so far? That's going to be an interesting conversation. But we know the Group C runner-ups are playing Nigeria, so could in this last matchup, could Guinea prove the shock and then give us a nice matchup of Senegal versus Nigeria in the first round? Or does Guinea go out and then ultimately it's Guinea versus Nigeria in that round? It'll be very interesting to see how it goes. But that's what's at stake for Group C. And then Group D, which will be the second slot of games, you have Angola versus Burkina Faso, and then Mauritania versus Algeria. Algeria needs a win to push themselves up. Even a draw gets them in a better spot, but I don't think a draw is acceptable for them versus Mauritania. So to give you an idea of what's at stake here, you have, again, for Group D, the winners of Group D, which currently the leaders are Angola. Group D are slotted in the next bracket underneath. So they would be here playing on the 27th. They'd be playing the third place team of Group E or Group F, which means those last two games here. So you're either looking at Zambia or Tanzania, or even DR Congo, or Tunisia, Namibia, or possibly South Africa. That's the matchup you're looking at. And then Angola versus Burkina Faso for those top twos. The winners and the runners up for Group D are playing the runners up for Group D. Let's pull that up here real quick on the screen. They're playing the winner of Group E. So that means winner of Group E, which is Mali or South Africa, or maybe Namibia. Those are the matchups that are sitting there, and they are very intriguing for me. To me, with all that said, what's the story of this day? It's very shortly just missed opportunities to guarantee and just miracle endings, right? You saw Ivory Coast, Cote d'Ivoire had a good opportunity to maybe put themselves into a top two spot, but weren't able to bury their chances. And I think that's the interesting thing with this. It seems that the surprise teams are burying their chances, right? Cape Verde, Equatorial Guinea. If you want to even add in a team like Angola, when they're getting opportunities, they are putting them away. Mali to an extent as well. South Africa with a big result to do that. But you're not seeing as much in terms of goal contributions and goals coming through from those top teams outside of maybe Senegal and then to an extent Morocco. So it's very interesting to see if these small teams, or I call them middle class teams because they're moving to that higher echelon, and maybe some of those top class teams or those higher class teams are moving down, and they're meeting in the middle. Now we have a nice conglomerate of just teams which are all at the same level, but maybe we give some teams a little bit more credence just because of their paper value or their brand name. But I think this is great for the tournament and for the content overall. It's good to see more teams being competitive. Nothing is guaranteed. Just because you have a name that you recognize from 10, 20 years ago doesn't necessarily mean that you are guaranteed anything. Nigeria, Ivory Coast are learning that. Ghana is certainly suffering in that right now. And it's good to see the teams like Equatorial Guinea, Cape Verde, Mali, Guinea, Angola, Burkina Faso. It's good to see those teams now starting to show they have had this quality, and it's time for them to show it up. But guys, if you watch this on the rewatch, let me know, what do you see that is exciting here? What are you looking forward to? Which matchups are you hoping to see? But more importantly, what is the team that has impressed you so far, but also which team has disappointed you as well moving forward, guys? We'll make this a quick one. We'll wrap it up here. Thank you for everyone who stopped by. Thank you for everyone who's rewatching this coming back. Let me know, how are you feeling about AFCON where it is? Because we have some great results, some intriguing results, and great matchups coming in. So to recap again, guys, we have in Group A, Equatorial Guinea topping the group with Nigeria in second, and now the host Ivory Coast waiting to see if they will move on based off third place finishes. You have Group B, Cape Verde and Egypt ending in a draw, meaning Cape Verde and Egypt are your top two teams because Ghana squandered a lead, now leaving it at 2-2, meaning now they have to hope for big results and two teams to fall behind them so that they have a chance to move on in third place finishes. Tomorrow, we have Senegal versus Guinea and then Cameroon versus the Gambia for Group C. You see the results there. Senegal is topping this group, Guinea in second, Cameroon in third, and the Gambia in fourth. And then we have Angola playing Burkina Faso and then Algeria versus Mauritania. All teams still alive to move on, but Mauritania only alive for that third place finish, guys. Let me know what you think. Thank you for stopping by on this. This has been a question from the FA Africans. Appreciate you stopping in. Until next time, we say thank you and bye-bye for now.